Hello everybody, PsyStarcraft here, but not just normal PsyStarcraft, Drunken PsyStarcraft! And my opponent in this game is going to be CG Siphonn. It's a Zerg versus Protoss on, I forget what this map's called, Core Hall City. I do like this map, I think. I do, so I'm going to say hi, GL. And I was reading the comments from you guys in the Cats game, and all of you were like, oh my god, Psy, you beat Cats drunk, LOL, you're funny when you're drunk, you should do a cast when you're drunk. So it's kind of got an upside and a downside. The upside being you guys enjoy it. I'm a bit more inhibited, or wait, less inhibited rather. So yeah, I'm already messing my words up. But the downside is I don't play as well, so I don't know. You know, they actually did this study in a bowling magazine, don't ask me why I'm reading a bowling magazine, where they found that people, or bowlers who drank a little bit before they bowled actually performed better because obviously stress wasn't as much of a factor, anxiety wasn't as much of a factor. If you got like 7 strikes in a row, you're not going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to get a 300, blah blah blah. You're going to be like, oh well, this is fun, I'm drunk, stuff like that. So maybe the same is true for StarCraft. I mean, I haven't had a super ton to drink, although that might be kind of hard to tell because I'm talking so much. I'm getting out of breath. I need to exercise more. But, you know, maybe it'll help out, and you guys can tell me what you think about it when you watch this game. Hopefully it's a good one, ZvP. I know my last 2 games were ZVZs, so I want to bring you something different. Now, let me know what you guys think about the new layout, the new playlist format, and stuff like that. I want you guys to be able to find whichever matchups you want to search for. I want you to be able to find games against notable players. I have a playlist for that. Also the brutal walkthrough in the mastery campaign, stuff like that. I do plan on finishing the mastery challenges. I am so out of breath. I need to stop talking so fast. Okay. So yeah, give me your opinions on all of that. My Protoss has, or my Protoss opponent hasn't scouted me. So I am able to go 15 hatch. I really like going 15 hatch whenever I'm able to. It's a lot better, in my opinion, than any other openers. The only problem is if he does scout you, like a little bit after you start your hatchery, you have to be wary of cannons. Now my opponent is not in this position. He didn't even, oh yeah, he did GL have fun me, so I'm not going to BM him if I beat him. But he hasn't scouted me yet, which is a bit unusual. That kind of leads me to believe he might be in this position, and he scouted here and then here. No, it looks like he's scouting that location now, so maybe just not the best scouter. He was level 12, and while levels shouldn't be much of an indicator of someone's skill, it tells me he hasn't played a lot of games. So he might not be the strongest player, might have ladder anxiety, stuff like that. So yeah. Am I getting an overlord? Yeah, I am. My overlord is really late. How did that happen? I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the intoxication level of my body. So I'm getting 4 lings. With my next 2 larvae, I'm going to get a drone and an overlord. And I've been advocating my overlord speed build a lot. And I've heard a lot of good things from you guys. I really appreciate you guys messaging me on BNet and being like, hey, Psy, I won a few games, or I stopped some cheesers with my overlord speed build. That really makes me happy. I feel like not only is it really good in low levels because you can prevent all sorts of cheese, but I know I've said this many times before, I also think it allows you to macro up a lot better because you know exactly what your opponent is doing, and if you know what your opponent is doing, you know whether to train lings or to train drones. So that's my logic behind it. Leave it to some other pros to actually back that logic up, but it's what I'm going to do until I notice that I'm just too far behind in like high level games. So yeah, and I'm going to get another queen because my minerals are pretty high. My minerals are going to be high just because I'm waiting for an inject. I'm going to be able to pump out a lot of drones here in a second. So my drone count is actually looking pretty good. I'm going to rally all these drones to my expansion, and then I'm going to start sending each of my drones to their appropriate bases. Starting my overlord speed, a couple more drones. And I usually like to have, he does have a forge, I usually like to have 2 overlords go to each spot. Starting another overlord because my supply is a bit high. He doesn't have a wall off here, so I can actually run by and scout him with my lings if I choose to. Which is kind of strange. I don't know why he doesn't have a wall off. I'm going to be able to get my speed up in just a second. Let's start the creep spread. And I usually get my 3rd hatch about the same time as I get my... Oh, watch out! Watch out! About the same time as I get all my extra gases. So let's get the 3rd ready. I can take this 3rd. It's a good location for it. And overlord speed should be finished pretty soon here. Just about done. There it is. And let's actually start the lair. We're going to get the expansion, and we are going to get our gases. So let's go ahead and scout with the Overlord here. So let's get the gases, make sure to inject. Notice I have so many drones. And what's he getting? He's got a Robo Bay, 2 gateways, and let's start this hatchery. And I started my lair already, right? Yep. And not too unusual. So a lot of pretty normal stuff. But notice how many drones I have, and I'm not worried about any kind of timing because I just scouted everything he was doing. So my third is on the way, and I'm going to be able to pump out a lot of drones there. The only thing that's a bit lacking right now is actually my creep spread. My creep spread could be better. So I'm going to get a couple drones. All my gas is saturated, and my worker count is perfect on all those bases. So now let's make 9 more drones, and we're going to go in and scout again. And I just think Overlord speed is fantastic. I did forget a Roach Horn. Usually I get a Roach Horn a little bit sooner. So he's going to be attacking this Overlord. I'm just going to kind of keep this here for a little bit. Just so we can kind of attack it. He's got another pylon going in his expansion. Don't want this guy to die, so now I'm going to be running it away. Don't die on me, Overlord! Yes! And running this guy in a couple more gateways. So, okay, Blink Stalker timing is what it's looking like with observers. So I'm going to get roaches. I'm going to get burrow. Well, I don't need burrow, actually. It's going to be Blink Stalker timing with observers. Maybe some immortals. But basically what I want to do to stop this is just Roach Hydra. So I'm going to hope that my production on my 3 hatcheries, I'm going to bring my Larva Queen to my 3rd hatchery. I'm going to hope my production from my 3 hatcheries and my extra drone count, 9 drones on my 3rd one, is going to give me enough to beat this. It's basically a 2-base all-in. Just in case, I'm going to go ahead and check that. I'm going to cancel Burrow. I don't actually need Burrow for this because he's going to have observers or immortals. Either way, even if I have Burrow, he can just send in some observers to help him out. And this should be a pretty straightforward game. Either he wins on the 2-base timing or he doesn't. But I really need that Hydra Den to complete because there we go. Because roaches, if he does choose immortals, aren't going to be very good, and of course Blink Stalker's pretty good against roaches as well. I do want to keep an eye on this base. I'm going to go ahead and keep an Overlord checking that. This Sling's already checking this. And let's go ahead and get Hydra range. I'm going to get a couple drones. Actually, I got way too many drones. I wanted to get a couple drones because I need more gas to fund my Hydras, but I got way too many. So he kind of has an opening now. Looks like he is going to be going for that 3rd base. And this is where I want to check for Colossus. I'm actually kind of glad I got all those drones now that I see he's getting a 3rd base. Maybe he's going for this 3rd base because I scouted him, so I feel like I might have a little bit of a lead right now. And if he doesn't have pretty fast Colossi, I'll probably go for a Roach Hydra timing with 1-1. Keep my injects up, that's good. And let's see what's out of this, what's coming out of this Robo. Okay, so he is going to get Colossus. I want to Roach Hydra Corruptor him. He's not going to have a lot of Colossus if he keeps that base. So what I'm going to do is basically train lots of Roach Hydra and about 8 Corruptors once the Spire finishes. I'm going to be ready for the 8 Corruptors to train. And I'm just going to push it as 3rd and see if I can get some damage done. Let's go ahead and kill these rocks. I can probably make the timing of my Corruptors, Hydras, and Roaches on point with my upgrades as well. But my saturation is really good. I want to take my 4th base here in just a second. Once you have 4 bases, you can get a max of, it's best to keep a max of 16 at each hatchery, so I'm going to go ahead and make these into geysers. And now I'm just going to save up, actually I can make a lot of lings. That doesn't hurt. Now I'm just going to save up gas for Corruptors because that's really going to be the only thing that stops this Roach Hydra army is Colossi. Because my upgrades are going to be 2-2 on my Roach Hydra. My Hydras are going to have all their upgrades. I've got really good saturation really early, which means I'm going to have a lot of units. And things are looking pretty good. Now, I do want to send another Overlord in. Now, again, this is where Overlord speed is really good. Just to check his Colossus count. If he does, I mean, he's pretty much got to go for Colossus. He's got the Robo Bay. His 3rd is kind of late, and he's not really doing any damage to me. So I'm going to get 9 Corruptors. And now I'm just going to train tons of Roaches and Lings. Problem with Lings is a lot of times the Lings die before your Corruptors can kill the Colossi, so that's the only downside. And we are seeing him kill that probe, or that drone, or that Ling rather, scouting his extra base, but that doesn't matter too much because I'm going to be attacking him before that will take effect. So now I'm going to saturate these gases with some drones. Going to train a couple more drones for this 4th base, and now let's just go with some Hydras, since the Corruptor should kill the Colossi. I'm actually going to get 1 more Corruptor, and now once my inject pops and my +2 finishes, I'm going to be moving out with just tons of Roach Hydra. I actually need a lot more Roaches. I don't have a lot of Roaches, which are going to be great for tanking. And this is going to be a pretty good 200-200 timing. I feel like I'm going to be able to take down his Colossi pretty easily. Looks like he's even got a Stargate, which is kind of a silly investment, just because... let's go ahead and get an Infestation Purple Lair. The Stargate is kind of a silly investment because I'm going to have Hydras anyway, and I mean, I already scouted his Robo. I feel like he's just not going to be able to get a lot done with that Stargate. Now, I'm going to wait for my +1 on my Corruptors to complete, because that gives him bonus 2 damage to massive units, which is always good. He does have an Observer scouting me, so he's going to be ready for any kind of pushes I do. Now I'm going to start my melee attack and get ready to move out here. Going to get a Queen at my expansion. And because my main is getting close to mining out, I'm going to go ahead and transfer a few of those and a few of those to my 4th base, as well as start a 5th base down here. And now let's go ahead and push out. I've got my Overseers with my army. I'm going to take out this Observer. I'm going to back up while he has the vision, and now I'm going to move forward. I'm going to get a Hive, prepare for some Broodlords if that's what I need to get. And let's try to take down his 3rd here. This is going to be a little bit dicey. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to succeed with this push. His Zealot has vision of the Watchtower. I do have 2-2 upgrades. I'm hitting a pretty good timing, and I just have to make sure to get down his Colossus and not get super force fielded. Another Observer dying. Wasting a lot of money on Observers. That's good. And now let's go. Oh, this could be a good... Oh, this could be a good engagement. Oh, this is a great engagement. He's only got 2 Colossi. They're going to drop immediately. He's got decent force fields, but now I'm just going to reinforce with tons of Hydras. I'm going to corrupt all of his gateway units with these Corruptors. Reinforce with Lings, reinforce with Hydras. Tons of Roaches still remaining. And look at the upgrades. He's 1-1-2. I'm 2-2. And he actually did pick off the Corruptors, so I've got to be careful for Colossi. I need a lot of Hydras for those Void Rays too. And I'm just going to keep injecting. I do have a Queen here as well. And he might be able to stop this. Yeah, looks like he is going to stop this. Just with the Void Rays. Void Rays really good. Didn't think they'd do a whole lot. I'm not getting a ton of Hydras, so I do want to kill those Void Rays. But now I'm going to reinforce and have 200-200 so fast that I don't think he's going to be able to do a whole lot. I'm going to send these Lings down here. Just because they're so far ahead of my army, they're not going to be able to get a whole lot done alone. And hopefully deny any kind of mining that he has at this base. Yeah, so this is going to be really good. He might even have to waste some warp ins there, and his units will be out of position. So this is a really great counterattack, stopping any kind of reinforcements with a high mineral count. And this should finish the game right here. I'm going to start a Greater Spire just in case. He even had to warp in there, which is good. He's only got 2 Void Rays, and I should have plenty of Hydras. But he does have a Colossus. That's terrible for me. I need to back up. I really need to back up right now, and I need more Roaches. But I've got plenty of Hydras, actually. I didn't get enough Roaches. This Colossus is going to be nasty. But my Lings did a pretty good job at that base. I'm doing injects really well. He just threw away a couple Void Rays. And I need to get that Colossus, so that Colossus is going to be huge. And, oh, able to pick off the Colossus. That's big. And reinforcing with more Roaches. Just going to keep on the injects, get the Hydras back, let the Roaches tank for me, and this should be it. He might have a couple more Colossus come out, but I feel like I've killed so much of his army at this point that I should be okay. Again, I am up on upgrades. He's got Void Rays. Just continue to inject, landing those injects at those perfect times. He does have a pylon right there, or a Warp Prism rather, but he can't really afford to warp in there. And these Hydras are going to pick up that Colossus, or that Void Ray, more Roaches coming in. And this should be game. I'm actually going to run some Roaches by. These cannons don't matter. I'm going to rally the Roaches up here and then down there, and there you have it. So his cannons were protecting over here, so I might have lost 1 Roach with this run by, but not enough, and I would have easily denied this base. So I feel like despite my inebriation, oh my god, I talked so much. Despite my inebriation, I played that pretty solid, attacking directly at 200-200, having enough Corruptors to stop any Colossi, which are really good. He was kind of spread thin on his tech. He had a lot of starports, he had Blink, he might have been getting DTs, who knows. And my macro was amazing as well. You guys remember when I was like, oh crap, I shouldn't have got drones for this base. It actually turned out to be good because he started taking his 3rd. And part of the reason he might have gotten his 3rd is simply because my Overlord Speed scouted his Twilight Council, and he's like, well shoot, he knows what I'm doing, he's going to be prepared. Let me try to get a late 3rd base, and I was able to hit some good timing. Persistent with my reproduction of units with my 4 bases, pretty well saturated. And I was able to take him down. So I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. Pretty solid win right there. And as always, thanks for watching.